I love this subject. Now, if you're a woman and you're over 35, there may be some changes headed your way. Maybe you're gaining a little weight, but you're not eating, and you don't know why you're gaining weight. Maybe your hair is getting thin or kind of stringy. Maybe you got some skin rashes or itches, or maybe you can't sleep. Any of these things ring a bell? Well, maybe you're going through hormonal imbalance. Now, all of us go through some of these things as we age, and then there are some people like myself who go through all of it, and it's terrible. But today, some very easy to use, highly specialized tests can accurately map your personal hormone levels and get them back in shape. And now you can do some of these tests right at home, thanks to the latest health technology. So my next guest expert is Dr. David Zava, president of ZRT Labs, which is a testing and research facility specializing in individualized hormone tests. Well, what's going on with women with the hormone imbalance? Let's start there.
What we see with women, as you said, at about age 35 and on, is hormones begin to change. Hormones are produced by the endocrine glands. And if you think about the hormones that we deal with, there are hormones produced by the adrenal glands, hormones produced by the thyroid, hormones produced by the testes in men or ovaries in women. And all these hormones are produced at optimal levels when you're young. And they really peak at about age 20 to 30. As we grow older, we no longer produce as many hormones. And if we're not taking care of our body, you know, the things that you've talked about in all your books, not eating right, not eating organic foods, not exercising properly, that'll have an effect on your gland's ability to produce the right amounts of hormone. By the time you're maybe 50 years old, you're going to realize, oh my gosh, I feel awful. You know, I can't think the way I used to be able to think. I can't remember numbers. And this is all about estrogen in the brain. It's very important for your brain function.
Right. Estrogen feeds the brain. For women, we're going to be 30 to 40 years in menopause and postmenopause.
Right.
So what I always say to women is, you want to feel awful for 30 to 40 years? If you get your hormones balanced, life becomes so different, so enjoyable, aging becomes such a blissful experience. Most men don't think that they lose their hormones. Can you set the men straight?
Yeah, I mean, use me as an example.
Okay.
I had a testosterone deficiency and I had a thyroid deficiency. And I didn't discover that until I did hormone testing. And I probably would have never known. Until I did that. But it gave me energy, and I created a business, and now 14 years later, here I am.
Most men think it's about erections. As long as they're able to have sex, I don't need that. Whenever I say to a man, even my age man, are you taking hormones? Oh no, I don't need that. And I think, doesn't your heart need it?
Oh, cardiovascular system, your muscles, your skin, your brain, all parts of your bodies.
What an incredible concept, having a home test. How do they do it? Like here's the saliva test here. Now, if I open this up here, there's like a little vial, and what do? You spit in it?
You just spit in the tube.
Right.
Yeah. So we collect the hormones in the tube. And the reason we developed saliva testing is because saliva gives you an accurate representation of what we call the bioavailable fraction of hormone. That's the amount of hormone that's moving into tissue.
Now I see there are 4 vials, so do you spit at 4 different times of the day?
This would be a collection where the big vial, you'd spit in it in the morning, first thing when you wake up, and the second, third, and fourth would be before lunch, before dinner, and before bed.
Because hormones...
They fluctuate, and those last 3 tubes, we look at your cortisol, which is a stress hormone, which we all have at different levels.
Women don't really understand. One of the first things they complain about is that they can't sleep.
Right. And
the reason they can't sleep is their cortisol is so high. So this would test for that cortisol level to...
This would test, right before bed. Usually where we see cortisol levels high is at night. But if you're not sleeping, you're going to be stressed.
Right.
And you're going to be grumpy, just as you described in your book.
Right.
It's one of the 7 dwarfs.
The 7 dwarfs, right. Itchy, bitchy, sleepy, sweaty, bloated, forgetful, and all dried up.
All of those.
The blood spot test, all right?
Right.
It's so exciting that you can do this at home.
Right.
The blood spot test.
Now the reason for the blood spot test is there are some hormones you can't test in saliva. You can't test insulin. You can't test growth hormone.
Oh.
You can't test thyroid hormones and some other things like that. So I wanted to develop a simple to take tests also for blood. The results that we get in this are almost identical to what you see in a blood draw from the arm. You have a little lancet and you poke your finger and you can see
honestly,
it on the
it
web.
doesn't hurt. I've done
Yeah,
it. You can
yeah,
hardly feel it. It's
yeah.
like,
It's just a little nick.
yeah.
And then you put blood drops on a filter card and let them dry. And the beauty of that is that once that blood is dry, it's stable for a long, it's stable for a month.
So for the doctors who say blood's not enough or saliva's not enough, you've got the combo test.
Well, the combo test allows you to do both saliva and blood together. For example, one of our popular tests is that you'll test all the hormones, the steroid hormones in saliva, estradiol, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA, cortisol, the 4 cortisols, and then you could test your thyroid in the blood.
And then my responsibility then is to find a qualified doctor, a doctor who can interpret.
Hopefully you're already working with a qualified doctor
Right.
that's ordered these tests for you or helped you get
Well,
these
I think
tests.
that's something that the viewer who is watching needs to know, that if you're not already working with a doctor, you've got to find a qualified doctor.
Right.
And the question has to be, do you specialize in bioidentical hormone replacement? Because I always tell my readers to go to a doctor who doesn't specialize in, it's like going to a plumber for a heart bypass.
Right.
We have a doctor that we're going to just look at a little clip here, because he is an alternative functional medicine doctor who specializes it, and he happens to use your lab.
Yes.
Well, I use the standard saliva profile. It's called a Hormone Profile 3, which gives me their adrenal hormones and their reproductive hormones. And then I can do some blood spot testing, which is a finger prick that they can do at home, or finger stick. And that's very accurate as well. And that correlates very nicely with the saliva. What we see is with a blood test, you get a number. The doctor is left to the interpretation. With saliva testing, you get number, you get a graph, you get a profile of their symptoms, plus you get feedback from the doctors at the laboratory that help you to interpret what's going on with that patient.
Get yourself tested and get your life back together. I want to thank you so much. Now they can go to
zrtlab.com.
.com.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.